What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com, bringing home the bacon, MLB DFS video. It is Wednesday. It is May 15th. Halfway through May, we are back with another video. If you find this video at all helpful or useful, please don't forget to subscribe. Do not forget to like the video. And I know it's annoying, but clicking on the ads definitely helps. It helps out tremendously. You do not understand. But getting the engagement in here, helping with the algorithm, helps us out just as much. And we have giveaways every single day. So if you're new to the channel, or you just came across the channel, or you've never been here before, strap in. It's a little longer video. I understand that, but we go through everything. So we're going to go through all of the games. We're going to look at all the pitchers. We're going to look at the bats. We run 10,000 simulations during this video, and at the end of the video, we are going to give you the top 20 bats after those simulations. Obviously, things happen throughout the day, weather news, lineups come out, that will change. So about an hour or so before first pitch on the main slate, we update the simulations to give you 20,000 simulations. So if you have questions, get those down below. You can always email us, and we have giveaways every single day. So we're going to put a pause on the home run giveaway. It's just not a lot of people are winning it, so I wanted to give a better option. So there are two ways to win on this video. First one is just liking the video, hopefully subscribing, and leaving a comment. If this video gets at least 50 likes, someone will win a free week of FTA+. That includes a free week of the sports that we currently have: MLB, NASCAR, PGA, MMA. We brought MMA back. If the video gets at least 100 likes on it, we will have a chance to give away a monthly pass. 150 likes is a $200 yearly pass, and if this video gets 200 or more likes, someone has a chance to win a $500 lifetime pass. We've had one lifetime winner, that was during NBA season, but you can win every single day up until you win a lifetime pass, and then obviously you can't win anymore. So we do things a little bit different than the other bigger DFS providers. So I wanted to just hopefully helps you guys out and helps us out. So on top of that, the second way to win, somewhere in this video, there will be a keyword that I will have you listen for and then put in the chat, or not in the chat, put it in the comments. So that can count as your comment as well. Listen for that keyword, because if you hear it and you post it as your comment, we will randomize it, random.org, and you have a chance to win a free week. And so you can win both. So I just wanted to bring that to your guys' attention. So that being said, two ways to win, and we are going to get the winner from yesterday right now, and we will see who it is. So good luck to everyone. We've put the URL, and we are going to randomize it. It's going to pick one winner from yesterday's video to receive a free pass. And the winner is Dave White 613. Let's go Mets. I can't agree with Let's Go Mets, but congratulations, Dave. Your name sounds familiar. I'm not sure if you have an account. So what I need you to do is like this, so I know you saw this, and then email me, dfshelp1@gmail.com, or you can hit us up on Discord with your username that you have on the site. If you don't have a username, send me a username and email you would like, and we will get you set up for your free pass. So congratulations yet again. You can come back tomorrow and the next day and the next day, and you can win just like Dave did. So come back every single day that we have a video, and hopefully you guys can win. So we're going to see who the winner is from yesterday's keyword, which was life. So anyone who typed life will have a chance to win. And the winner is JKB1026. Congratulations, JKB1026. Email me, dfshelp1@gmail.com, and we will get you set up for your pass. So congratulations. You can win both of them. Come back tomorrow, come back the next day, come back the next day. So I'm getting kind of sick of these Wednesday, Thursday slates, but they're split up. We got early games, we got the main slate games, and I don't remember it being this way last year with this many games like split up, at like a full slate split up. So basically cut in half. We got one early game that's not on anything. We got 7 early, 7 main. So we are going to touch everything in it. So I do want to thank everyone for all of your prayers. for being like last weekend was a wild ride, and it still can happen again. So we got another like weekly meeting or weekly appointments to see if we need to do that. So for people who don't know, we're expecting our second child, and my wife, some tests came through, and we went to the hospital, and we were there all weekend. So on top of that hospital bill, we came home and our fridge quit and our oven quit. The stovetop works, but the oven doesn't work. So yeah, hopefully I'm hitting one of these jackpots pretty big soon. I need to get some bacon here for myself, not only to welcome a new child, to pay for the hotel. The world's most expensive hotel is where we were at for the weekend, but I got to get a new fridge, and I got to get a new oven at some point. We have an air fryer, but you can't really do a ton with an air fryer. But anyway, I'm not going to bore you with that. We are going to dig into this. So that being said, we are looking at these games. If you've got questions, if you have certain games you want to look at, if you want to give some advice, the link to our Discord is down below. A lot of people go in there. We give out core plays. People give advice. They go back and forth. They ask, how do you like this lineup, or how do you like these bets? We've got it there. Also, this article for today is in the description as well. That helps us out as well. When we are looking for sponsors or people to look at the videos, we can show them the analytics from the website. So going to this website, clicking on those ads on there helps us out as well. That is all I ask you. But I ask you to listen and hopefully bring home the bacon with us. So, early games. We've got this really early game. I don't know why it's so early. I really don't know what's going on in Baltimore right now. So you can't really play this one at the moment unless they do I guess sometimes Fanduel does a very early only slate, which I don't think they're going to do with this one. But we look into this game. Kikuchi versus Cole Irvin. Kikuchi, 145. I mean, he's seen a ton of the Orioles. 145 plate appearances, a 295 batting average, 22.8 K percentage. Now, I'm always thinking, is it, when it's a high batting average like that, is it one or two players? Is it spread out? And it's basically spread out here. You got Adley, 7 for 17 with a double and 2 home runs, batting .412. You've got Ryan Mountcastle, 7 for 15 with a double and 4 home runs, batting .467. So when people ask me what I'm looking for in like BVP or plate appearances, like you would obviously love to see like 12 or 20 plate appearances or minimum, but when someone is 7 for 15 with 4 home runs and a double, so 5 of his 7 hits have been extra base hits, you gotta take that into expectation. And you've got Mountcastle, who you could look at batting high. You got Jorge Mateo, 7 for 17 with a double and a triple. Don't know if he'll start, but he is there to look at. You've got Santander batting .308, 4 for 13 with a home run. Ramon Urias is 2 for 10 with a home run. So you've got options here. But then there's another factor we have to look at. How has Kikuchi done on the road? So this year, comes in with a 2.64 ERA, a 2.49 away, so road ERA, 46 strikeouts on the year, with 22 of them being on the road. So we look at this. His last game, he did pitch 8 innings, but had 3 strikeouts, so it's low. Baltimore hits very well. Contrarian, you want to go tournament because everyone and their mom's going to be on Baltimore. I would look at a Baltimore stack, but contrarian would be Kikuchi. But again, you're most likely playing a showdown. You got to pretty much have, not necessarily all the time, but when you're playing a one-game showdown, you got to have basically both pitchers in there. But I would mainly focus on, this might be one of those cases where you just go Baltimore bats and you look at Cole Irvin. So overall, 73 plate appearances, 188. He's had success against them. Looking at his numbers here, which is wild. He's 4-1 right now. And overall, 2.9 ERA. The problem is he's only had 28 strikeouts total. And he has been worse on the road or at home. He's got 3.22 ERA at home. But he has 18 of his 28 Ks at home. So Toronto, usually it just depends on who they are and the lineup that comes out. So Bo Bichette's been one of those Toronto bats that just doesn't make sense as to why he is struggling as much as he is. But that's what we're working with. So looking at this game, I don't see how I play Kikuchi. even in a showdown, I think it's Cole Irvin. It's the majority of the Baltimore bats, and then you got to find that one Toronto bat that you could fit in there. So that's my thought in this very, very early game. Then we move to the next game. You got the Marlins at the Tigers. You got Trevor Rogers versus Casey Mize. Marlins are bad. Trevor Rogers has a 6.57 ERA total. He's 0-6 on the year, which is wild because I remember 2 or 3 years ago he's really good. He's got a 1.86 WHIP, which is very high. 9 ERA on the road going up against Detroit. I'm looking at Detroit. I'm not looking at Trevor Rogers. I would look at Detroit bats. Now, just depending on the bats that come out there, Spencer Torkelson makes sense. Riley Green makes sense. Depending on who the catcher is, Carson Kelly or Jake Rogers, going to be cheap options there. Love to take Mark Canha against the lefty majority of the time. That's when I use Mark Canha, is against lefty pitching. So that's another one I would look at. Colt Keith a little bit. You want to go dumpster diving, you could go Javi Baez, but he stays in the dumpster. Wincio Perez you could look at as well. So I'm looking at Casey Mize, who hasn't faced them much. I don't trust the Marlins bats. I would look at Mize, and I would look at Detroit bats over Trevor Rogers and the Marlins bats, because Casey Mize has got a 3.58 ERA total, but he's a 2.65 ERA at home. So that is my thought in this game. Moving to the next game, I did forget to mention, I got DM'd on Twitter last night or this morning. I think it was early this morning, like 2 a.m. So I was asleep well before that. But we had another subscriber win money, a lot of money. They told me they didn't want their name out there for whatever reason. This person won $30,000 last night. It was on DraftKings. I did not see how much they played, like if they had $500 in entries. I don't know. I did not see that. I just saw what he won, which was awesome. And he said he watched our videos. He looked at our Discord, but he wants to stay anonymous, which is completely fine. If you guys win big and you want me to show the screenshots and stuff, I can do that. But I completely understand not doing that. But again, he says he does his own research. He builds his own lineups, but he uses these videos. He listens to them every single day. He goes into the Discord. He sees what people are saying. He looks at core plays, and he makes adjustments. And that's exactly what I want you to do. So if these videos are enough for you, that's awesome. But if you guys do need that bigger boost, you need a little bit more help, we do have FTA Plus. It's $10 a month or a week, or $30 a month. Save $10 there. You get all the sports. You get everything that's down there, everything we talk about. If you would like to check it out, it obviously helps out myself and my family, and hopefully helps you out as well. So, next game, we got the Pirates at the Brewers. You got Martin Perez versus Robert Gasser. Perez, 74 plate appearances, 23K percentage against this current roster, 20.3 walks. So he is walking quite a bit. And then 169 batting average, which is great. He comes in with a 3.60 ERA, a 2.38 ERA on the road, 36 strikeouts, but only 13 of them have come on the road. So we look at that, and I don't mind. I don't mind it much, but I mean, his last start came against the Angels, 8 hits in there with 5 innings, 4 earned runs, 1 home run. Not the best. Had a good game versus Colorado. Had a pretty good game against San Francisco before that. So tournament-wise, I'm okay with him. I don't mind Martin Perez. Robert Gasser, we used him his last start. It was his debut. He obviously, I think he was $5,000. He was very cheap. I said we needed to use him, and we did. Against St. Louis, he went 6 innings in that game, 4 Ks, got the dub, gave up no earned runs, 0.33 whip. Obviously, you would like to see more than 4 strikeouts. I don't know if I can use him today. I kind of really like Milwaukee bats in this one. So if we look at the Milwaukee bats, let's take a look. William Contreras usually mashes, especially against lefties. So I would look at William Contreras. I would look at Christian Yelich, lefty, righty. I really don't care. I'm on him. Gary Sanchez could be a cheap catching option today. He either strikes out or mashes lefty, so there's no in between there. It's basically Sanchez is Kyle Schwarber. Just that's it. Yeah, he's Kyle Schwarber. He's very boomer bust. Willie Adames I would look at. Bryce Terang I would look at. Every time Rhys Hoskins is facing a lefty, I am in on looking at Rhys Hoskins as well. So those would be the Milwaukee bats I'd look at. Pirates bats against a lefty here, you could be looking at O'Neal Cruz, McCutchen at the top. There's not like a ton that I would look at. Michael A. Taylor could be a cheap option for you for Pirates bats. Michael A. Taylor would be one. Yasmani Grandal, maybe. You could look at Nick Gonzalez. He's very cheap, should be very underowned. We have a chalk. We have our chalk here, so MLB. And then this is yesterday, but I can show you yesterday. So MLB DFS chalk. And what it is if you play cash, you obviously want to play the chalk. If you play tournaments, you want to take the chalk that's lower percentage owned, but higher fantasy points. So it's broken up between FanDuel and DraftKings down here. You can look at it. Obviously, this was yesterday. Ownership percentage is high, but you can kind of look at this and, make a determination if you want to play some of these players. So definitely play the chalk when you can for cash, fade the chalk, and go a different direction for tournaments. So that's basically what I would look at. Connor Joe would be a cheaper option as well for a Pirates bat if you're looking for a Pirates stack here. Move to the next game. The Nationals at the White Sox. We've got Patrick Corbin versus Garrett Crochet. They're both lefties here. Now, Patrick Corbin has actually 52 plate appearances, a 262 batting average. He actually has a lower than 6 ERA on the year. Only 29 strikeouts, so his strikeouts are low. Does have a 1-2 record on the road, 7.46 ERA, and 17 of his 29 strikeouts have come on the road. These numbers aren't good. But then you look, he's playing the White Sox. The White Sox are a very bad team. For tournaments, I'm okay with Patrick Corbin. I'm still scared to ever use Patrick Corbin. We look at his game, just kind of looking. Went 7 innings against Boston. Got the W. 1 earned run, only 4 Ks. The strikeouts are low. That's the problem. He dropped his ERA from 6.45 to 5.91 in that start against Boston. Then the prior start to that went 6 innings against Toronto, 3 earned runs, 3 strikeouts. That's not bad. That's a quality start. Did not get the W there. But then against Miami, a team that he should have been dominated, gave up 7 runs, 4 of them earned. Then against the Dodgers, 5.1 innings, no earned runs, 3 strikeouts. It doesn't make sense what he's been doing against some of these teams. He does well against a Dodgers stacked team, does not well against Miami. Tournaments, I'm okay with because Chicago's so bad. But again, it is Chicago. The White Sox are bad. I could see that, but he has been bad on the road. So tournament-wise, I'm okay with Patrick Corbin. And that's if I'm making 20 or 50 lineups. If you make multiple lineups, I'm okay with that. But if you don't, that is where we look at the bats. So let's look at the bats in this game. That make sense, that make us feel comfortable. If you are looking at these bats, Eloy Jimenez usually handles lefties well. I would look at him. I would look at Andrew Vaughn. I would look at Tommy Pham against Patrick Corbin. Maybe a little bit of Paul DeYoung. Now, Crochet, on the other hand, started off, his first 2 games were really good. I believe his first 2 starts. One was against Detroit, 8 Ks. The next game against Atlanta, 7 innings, 8 Ks there. Had 10 Ks against Cincy, but gave up 5 earned runs in that. Coming off a back-to-back wins against Cleveland, 6 innings, no earned runs, 11 strikeouts. Dropped his ERA from 5.31 to 4.63. Looking at that, I think both of these pitchers are viable options for tournaments. I think they're both viable options. He has 64 strikeouts. Currently, Crochet is tied for 3rd in strikeouts overall. Got a .99 whip, so it's tied for 15th in whip, 69th for ERA, 34th for his record of 3-4. I could see this be a low scoring. This is the problem. I see two scenarios with this game. Watching baseball as much as I do and knowing these pitchers, it's either going to be a very low scoring game or it's going to be a very high scoring game. I will have exposure to both of these pitchers, though. They both have good matchups. On paper, they have good matchups. They've pitching a little bit better lately, too. So looking at this, I don't mind either of these for tournaments. I would not use for cash. They are going to be cheaper options than some of the other pitchers on today's full slate, like if you're playing a full day. So tournaments I'm okay with. Bats-wise, if you think it's going to be a game that is, they put up a ton of runs. Keibert Ruiz against a lefty, C.J. Abrams, Eddie Rosario, Luis Garcia, Trey Lipscomb, Nick Senzel. These are ones that I would look at. So that's my thought in this game. We move into the next game. You got the Reds versus the Diamondbacks. You got Andrew Abbott versus Brandon Pfaadt. Really haven't seen a ton of each other, which is okay. And this isn't Great American Small Park, so I don't mind that at all. So we look at Abbott. Comes into this game, 3.35 ERA, tied for 36th, has 37 strikeouts, so he is striking some batters out. Does a 3.45 ERA on the road, but has 22 of his 37 Ks on the road as well. So we look at game logs. Against San Francisco, his last start, only gave up 2 earned runs, but only had 2 strikeouts. The game before that, he faced Baltimore, 5 innings, 2 earned runs. They lost 2-1, but he had 8 strikeouts in there. So he's been getting, depending on who he's pitching against, he's been okay. Has not faced Arizona this year, obviously. Tournament-wise, I'm okay with him. But I do like some Arizona bats, usually against lefty pitchers. Then you got Brandon Pfaadt. So Pfaadt comes in, 4.60 ERA, so it's elevated. 42 strikeouts, has a 4.50 ERA at home with only 20, or has 20 strikeouts at home. So I'm probably looking at bats in this one. I'm probably not looking at pitching. Again, we got to wait for other weather concern. Obviously, weather's not going to be a concern in this game. They got a retractable dome, but it will depend on other pitchers early, how the weather's going to hold out, and if it makes any sense. But batting-wise in this game is probably where I'm going. So Ellie De La Cruz, Tyler Stevenson, Will Benson, Spencer Steer, I'm okay with. You want to throw something at the wall and see if it sticks? Jake Fraley, Mike Ford, Stuart Fairchild. You could look at those guys. Then Arizona bats that usually hit better against lefties. I would look at Ketel Marte. Christian Walker usually mashes lefties. Lourdes Gurriel Jr. mashes lefties. Gabriel Moreno usually, and Eugenio Suarez. Those are the bats that I would look at in this game. So if I make multiple lineups, maybe I'll have a couple of these options here, but I think I'd rather focus on the pitching more. Or the bats more, sorry, not the pitching. Moving on, next game, Rockies at the Padres. You got Austin Gomber, you got Michael King. It's been like a tale of two kings, and we'll look at that. So Austin Gomber, 3.43 ERA overall, 30 strikeouts. So kind of low strikeouts. He's tied 104th in strikeouts. 125 whip, so kind of a high whip. On the road, 3.94 ERA. Only 10 of his 30 strikeouts have happened on the road, which is kind of weird to me, but, it's one of those kind of just things you got to, baseball things you got to look at. And it doesn't make sense. Also, against Texas, the Rangers got swept in Colorado by Colorado, which should not have happened. He went 6.2 innings in there, gave up 2 runs, 1 of them earned, 1 home run, 2 walks, but 5 strikeouts. Against Pittsburgh, 6 innings, 0 home runs, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. And then Houston gave up 4 earned runs. San Diego. So he faced San Diego back on 4/22, 5 innings. That was at home. 5 innings, 1 earned run, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. So this is a pitcher's park. Honestly, I don't mind Austin Gomber. I think he'll be under-owned, especially on a slate like this. The Padres should be able to hit. But I'll have exposure to him in tournaments. And then Michael King, on the other hand, depending on which one are we going to get. So, King coming in, 3.67 ERA, but has a 4.41 at home, which is weird because it is a pitcher's park. He had a no-hitter going deep into a game that was broken up. But then he went up against the Dodgers on last Friday. 7 innings, 11 strikeouts, no earned runs. Did not get the dub, but only had 3 walks in that game. I think both of these pitchers are great options. Honestly, I think King is more of your cash option. I think Austin Gomber is more of your tournament option when you're looking for pitching. Batting wise, honestly, at the moment, unless something pops up when I do the simulations, none of the bats really jump out to me. If you think Austin Gomber is going to get hit hard, obviously Tatis Machado makes sense. Luis Arraez makes sense. Jackson Merrill, Jurickson Profar. On the flip side of that, if you think Michael King's going to get lit up, and I don't think Michael King... No, he did. So Michael King faced Colorado his last start, at Colorado. Only went 3.2 innings there, 4 earned runs, 1 home run, 5 strikeouts. So the strikeouts, he's had double-digit strikeout games. He's also had games where he's only had 3 strikeouts. So looking at this, he has faced Colorado there. He's faced the Dodgers 3 times this year. And he's actually been pretty okay against them. Gave up 4 earned runs in 1 start. So, Coors effect is a thing. This is a pitcher's park. I still think Michael King is your cash. I think Austin Gomber is your tournament. Not a ton of Colorado bats that jump out to me. Maybe once we do the simulations, we will see. But at the moment, I like the pitching in this one. And then we look at the Royals at the Mariners. This one's a little bit different. It depends on what we're going to get and who's going to give it. But Alec Marsh versus Brian Wu. Marsh, 27 plate appearances, 333. Not much there. And then Brian Wu, 7 plate appearances, 167 batting average against him. Now, we'll look at the pitchers first. So Alec Marsh comes in. Overall, 2.53 ERA, 3-0 record. Low strikeout, 24 strikeouts. But his road ERA is 3.12. 14 of the 24 strikeouts have come on the road. Now, the Mariners team has not looked as impressive as they have in the past couple of seasons, but we look at this. Marsh coming in, obviously was off, hurt for a little bit, but came back against the Angels. 5.1 innings, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts. Has not faced the Mariners this year. The strikeouts are low. Coming off his best strikeout game, tied for his best strike. No, he had... Let's see. Yeah, he had his best strikeout game his last start against the Angels. Tournament-wise, I'm okay with Marsh. I just, when he's not getting 7 strikeouts, he's getting 1 against Toronto or 2 against the Mets, 3 against Chicago. Like, they've been very low. Tournaments, I'm okay with him, but that's probably it. Brian Wu's the one that scares me. He's got great stuff, and he left his last start hurt. He was doing well. 3 strikeouts in that game, but in that game went 4.1 innings, 3 strikeouts. They won 8-1. He got pulled because forearm tightness. Now this could happen again. He could get scratched between now and when the slate locks. That's the problem. Brian Wu for tournaments I'm okay with, but his arm health scares me a little bit. I'm probably not. I don't trust him enough to be able to be like, yeah, I'll put him in there. Because the Royals have been hitting very well. So if we look at that, Royals bats, Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, MJ Melendez, I think everyone knows this. Michael Garcia a little bit. Michael Massey, I love Michael Massey. Cheaper options, you could look at Freddie Fermin or you could look at Dayron Blanco. Maybe a little bit of Nelson Velasquez as well. If you think Alec Marsh is not going to have a good game, which that's your prerogative, that's completely okay. Cal Raleigh, Julio Rodriguez, Josh Rojas at the top. Love Josh Rojas. He's been very hot right now, especially leading off for the Mariners. If he's in there, get him in there. Get him in your lineup. Another one I would look at would be Dylan Moore here against Alec Marsh. So, tournament-wise, both of these pitchers are tournament only. There's no way I'm putting him in cash. Even SP2, I don't trust him. Then we got the Mets at the Phillies. Adrian Hauser versus Ranger Suarez. Hauser, 0-3 record, 7.63 ERA. Going up against the Phillies, he's given up a 2.63 batting average. I would be looking at the Phillies bats. I'd be looking at Schwarber at the top. He is boomer bust, but I'd still look at him against a righty. I'd look at Bryce Harper against a righty. I would look at Real Muto. I don't know if he's going to be in there. Alec Boehm, Bryson Stott. Like, I would be looking at a full send on a Philly stack. And then Ranger Suarez is actually very surprising, but he's the best pitcher in baseball right now. He's first, 7 wins. He's 7-0. He's third in ERA with a 1.50. He's tied for 11th in Ks, 55 strikeouts. He has a .72 whip. He is in first place for whip. So he's in the top 5 in 3 of the 4 categories, and he's in the top 3 of those same categories. Comes in, he's been wild. That's what's crazy, though. Game log wise, 7 innings, 6 innings, 8, 7, 9, 6, 6, 5. So the least amount of innings he's pitched was the first start of the year, which was against the Braves, which is completely understandable. Has not faced the Mets this year, but he has been absolutely on fire this year. He's done everything right. He has a fantastic matchup. The only thing that would make this matchup better for me is if it were in Citi Field, which is a massive ballpark. Other than that, that's the only thing that would change. So, love me Ranger Suarez. He's number 1 pitcher for the day overall. Love this matchup for him against the Mets. And there's no Mets bats that I would look at. I would definitely be looking at Philly, and I would be looking at Ranger Suarez 100%. So now we can jump into the main slate. We look at this. You got Taj Bradley versus Tanner Houck. Bradley, 13 plate appearances, hasn't done much. Tanner Houck, 37 plate appearances, 212 batting average. So we look at this. Taj Bradley coming in. This will be his second start of the year. Just faced the Yankees back 5 days ago. Lost 2-0. 6 innings in that game. Only gave up 1 earned run. 7 strikeouts, 2 walks. He is not a bad option here for tournaments. But again, Boston's bats have been very inconsistent all year, basically last year and all year. Sometimes they put up a ton of runs, sometimes they do not. So looking at this, I do not mind Taj Bradley. I think he's more of a tournament option, but I could see you put him as SP2 for cash. Then you got Tanner Houck. Love me some Tanner Houck. I've got him as the picture of the video in the article. A 2.24 ERA, 50 strikeouts, coming off, a couple of bad games here against Washington, Minnesota. I understand that. Has not faced Tampa Bay this year, but they have not looked good this year. And I'll be the first one to admit if I'm wrong tomorrow or tonight with tomorrow's video, I will let you know if I was wrong about Tanner Houck. But I love Tanner Houck. Not as much as Ranger Suarez, not as much as a couple other ones, but Tanner Houck makes sense for this matchup. Tampa Bay just looked off for this year. Pitching at home, he's got a 2.54 ERA, so he is worse at home, but he does have 24 strikeouts at home, 26 on the road. So he's got a great matchup here. Batting-wise, honestly, I don't think I'm going to look at the bats. There's none that interest me right now, so I'm going to avoid the bats right now. Then you got the Cubs at the Braves. As of the moment, this Baseball Savant does not have a pitcher listed for the Cubs versus Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton, 75 plate appearances, 246. Seeing if they've got like an opener. They've got Javier Assad, which should be his start. He was supposed to start on Friday. I could see that. It's got Assad has a 1.70 ERA, so if it is him, I don't mind him for tournaments. Again, though, he's facing Atlanta, which they're obviously a really good team. Pitching on the road does have a worse ERA on the road. So tournaments, I'm okay with Assad, but again, we know that Braves are a great hitting team. And then you got Charlie Morton, Uncle Charlie. 90-year-old Uncle Charlie, 3.14 ERA, 3-0 record, 40 strikeouts, 105 whip. He's averaging 18.6 fantasy points per game per DraftKings. Has not faced the Cubs this year. At home, he's got a 2.89 ERA, so he's been better at home. Less strikeouts at home, though. Maybe a little bit of me says, yeah, Charlie Morton makes sense in tournaments. But honestly, I'll take a little bit of Assad, but I want to look at the bats in this one a little bit more. If we're looking at bats, ones that make sense anyway. Suzuki is back. Patrick Wisdom. Chris Morel. Every time I look at a box score, Chris Morel's either hitting home runs, got RBIs. He's involved in these games for the most part. 2 nights ago, didn't give me a hit in my 1+ hit, which, whatever. I would look at that. Kind of looking at other bats, maybe a little bit of Cody Bellinger. Cheaper options, Master Buoni. I don't know how you say his name. Mike Talkman a little bit. Pete Crow Armstrong. Just depends on who's out there. Braves bats against Assad. Ones that usually hit well against lefties. Is Assad a lefty? He is, right? No, he's a righty. Matt Olson hits lefties well. Acuna I would take. Michael Harris I would take. Could look a little bit of Travis d'Arnaud if he's in there. Ozzie Albies makes sense a little bit as well. So you want to go very low. Zach Short could be a sneaky option on this slate too. Then we got the Yankees at the Twins for the second game of the series. We've got Marcus Stroman against them in his career. 97 plate appearances, 293 batting average. So he's gotten lit up. Let's see who has had success against him, or if it's just a couple. Like Santana's 6 for 30 with 4 doubles. That's a 200 batting average. Christian Vasquez, 8 for 22 with 2 doubles. Kyle Farmer's 3 for 13 with a double, triple, and a home run. Correa, 5 for 10. That's 500. So obviously a 500 batting average, a 400 batting average, 2 for 5. And a 364, and then a 1 for 2. It's all going to bump up that ERA. So that's why you need to dig into the numbers just a little bit more. Honestly, I don't know if I'll be taking any of the Twins bats. I think I kind of like Stroman a little bit more, and I think I like the Yankees bats. And then you got Pablo Lopez. 80 plate appearances, 284 batting average. So not a ton. Not seeing a ton out of him here. Pablo Lopez, you come in, and he is the most expensive pitcher on the slate against a very good hitting offense. Got a 3.89 ERA, 55 strikeouts, .98 WHIP. Splits-wise, pitching at home, got a 3.27 ERA. Game-wise, he's had 3 really good starts in a row against Seattle, Boston, and the Angels. He's got all dubs in those. Tournaments, I'm okay with Lopez, but his price is up there. I was actually surprised to see his price almost near 10,000, considering the matchup that he has here. So I'm probably off of him a little bit. Tournaments I'm okay with. I don't know if I can trust him in cash though. I just don't think I can. Batting wise in this game, if that's the direction you feel like you want to go with, obviously Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Stanton, Volpe, Rizzo, these ones make sense. Cheaper ones would be John Birdie if he's in there, Oswaldo Cabrera if he's in there, and now it's not going to work, Verdugo. It just really depends on the lineup that comes out. And then Twins bats against, like I said, Vasquez, Kirilloff. I don't know if I'll be having much exposure to the Twins bats, to be completely honest. Then we got the Guardians at the Rangers. You got Carlos Carrasco versus John Gray. Carrasco, 58 plate appearances, 235. John Gray, 83 plate appearances, 246 against him. Only 15.7 K percent. So a low percentage there. A little bit. So you got Carrasco down here near the bottom, 6,500 or 6,200. He's had 2 good starts. I mean, he should have against the White Sox. Lost that game. Gave up 5 runs, 3 of them earned, 5 strikeouts. But he had 16.2 fantasy points. The Angels, 6 innings, 1 earned run, 3 strikeouts, 16.7. Then he got lit up against Houston, Boston, did well against Boston, didn't do well against the Yankees, Minnesota, and Oakland as well. Now he has to face a Texas team at home. I'm off of Carlos Carrasco. I want nothing to do with Cookie there. So yeah, that's kind of my thought process there. I don't think I trust Carrasco enough. John Gray, he's right there. He's low priced. Matchup against Cleveland. He's got a 2.37 ERA. We used him in Colorado, which I was off of a little bit, and then I looked at some numbers. 6 innings, 1 earned run, 7 strikeouts there. Had back-to-back 7 strikeout games. 3 of his 4 last games, he's had 7 strikeouts. Tournaments, I'm okay with John Gray, especially at 7,500. Bats, though, if you don't trust these, hopefully the bats work. If you're not trusting these, obviously Josh Naylor's been absolutely on fire. Bo Naylor, Jose Ramirez are the 3 that I would look at. Cheaper option would be Will Brennan or Estevan Florial. Maybe a little bit of Kyle Manzardo. Texas bats, obviously, against Carrasco, Adolis Garcia, Jonah Heim, Corey Seager. Like, these make sense. Marcus Simeon. Cheaper options, Nate Lowe, Josh Smith, Ezekiel Duran, Grossman if he's in there, which I doubt he will be. He's usually only against lefties. That's kind of my thought in this game. If, for whatever reason, Jonah Heim is out and Andrew Kisner is in, I don't mind Kisner as a cheap replacement option at catching, but there are better catching options out there on this slate. Then we got the Athletics at the Astros. You got Aaron Brooks versus Framber Valdez. Brooks, 22 plate appearances, 409 batting average. Valdez, 63 plate appearances, 150. Obviously love Framber Valdez in this one. Don't think you can go wrong with him, especially against this A's team. So the A's are very boom or bust. They're hitting home runs. Or if they're not hitting home runs, they're the A's and they stink. But we look at these. Aaron Brooks comes in. The problem here, getting called up. And Alex Wood is hurt. I'm assuming this was Alex Wood's spot. Let's see. Yeah. Aaron Brooks in AAA, 4.57 ERA, 1.44 whip, 32 Ks to 10 walks. Yeah. It is a hitter-friendly thing, but I would look at the Astros bats. I would look at Framber Valdez, and I would look at the Astros bats. Would not be trusting that. So I would look at Altuve. I would look at Corey, Jeremy Pena, Kyle Tucker, Yordan Alvarez, maybe a little bit of Yainer Diaz. But yeah, I would look at Valdez, and I would look at the Astros bats. I have I don't want anything to do with Aaron Brooks. I know he's very cheap, but that's my thought. I'm off of Aaron Brooks. I'm on Valdez. I am definitely looking at the Astros bats. I'm stacking. Might be one of my favorite stacks on the slate against Brooks. Then you got the Cardinals at the Angels. You got Lance Lynn versus Griffin Canning. Lynn, 58 plate appearances, a 321 batting average. So if we look at that, like, is it, one or two batters that have had success, or is it overall? And it's basically two batters. One's 286. You got 3 for 7, which is 429. You've got a 3 for 4 out of Calhoun for 750 batting average. Those are going to jump up, and that's where those numbers come from. So look at that. Tournament-wise, Lance Lynn, I don't mind. But I could also see you want to go with a sneaky little Angel stack. Taylor Ward. You could look at Nico Goodrum. You could look at Kevin Pillar, who had a pretty good Monday night. You could look at Joe Adell, Willie Calhoun if he's in there as well. And then the flip side, Griffin Canning. What Canning are we going to get? It's 5,500. He's very cheap. Has a 5.75 ERA. Couple of starts in a row has been pretty good against Kansas City and Cleveland. At this price, I think Griffin Canning for tournaments, I'm okay with. If you're not going with that and you want to look at, honestly, I don't think I'll have much exposure to St. Louis bats. I think Griffin Canning for tournaments, I think both pitchers are tournament options, and that's basically it. And then the Dodgers at the Giants is the final game. And if you're still around, the keyword for today is broken. Why is it broken? Because at the beginning of this video, my fridge broke, my oven broke, and to replace these, I'll be broken. So keyword broken. But back to your regularly scheduled final game. Dodgers, Giants. This is in Oracle Park. Logan Webb has 197 plate appearances against this Dodgers team. Only 18.3 K percentage, 8.1 walk, a 345 batting average. He has not fared well, and they obviously see each other a ton. Will Smith, batting 240. Mookie Betts, 14 for 33 with 2 doubles and 2 home runs, a 424 batting average. Love me some Mookie Betts. Max Muncy batting 375, 3 home runs there. Freddie Freeman batting 448, 1 home run. Chris Taylor, 5 for 19 with a home run, batting 263. I mean, James Outman, 4 for 8 with a triple. They've had his number. I want nothing to do with Logan Webb. I want a Dodgers stack as my second favorite stack of the night. And do they have a Dodgers? They think maybe Ryan Yarbrough, but I doubt it. Yeah. So it'd be an opener situation anyway. I can't go over this because I don't know exactly who it's going to be. So, yeah, in this game, I want the Dodgers as a stack. And that is the breakdown. This is a full breakdown. The videos are longer, but they are very chock full of everything you need and hopefully want in your DFS providers or whatever you want to call us. So we're going to look at the top 20 bats after 10,000 simulations. So get a paper, pen, or whatever you need. We're going to check it out right now. So looking at it, number 1, Corey Seager. Number 2 is Ellie De La Cruz. Now, this is an all-day slate. This is all the games. Number 3 is Mark Canha, like I said, against a lefty. Didn't even see that, but absolutely love that. Number 4 is Kerry Carpenter. 5 is Adolis Garcia. 6 is Riley Green. 7 is Josh Rojas at the top. 8 is Tatis Jr. 9 is Bobby Witt Jr. 10 is Winfield Perez. 11 is Rhys Hoskins. 12 is Willy Adames. 13 is Trevor Larnach against Stroman. 14 is Julio Rodriguez. 15, William Contreras. 16, Wilyer Abreu. 17, Ketel Marte. 18, Corbin Carroll. 19, Bryce Harper. And number 20 is Spencer Steer, these are basically all the batters we talked about that we liked. So I do love Houston as a stack. I love the Dodgers as a stack. I love Milwaukee as a stack against Martin Perez. And I really like Detroit against Trevor Rogers as my top 4 stacks of the day. We will see if, other things come out. Obviously, weather will determine if some of these stacks are viable. Lineups that come out will also determine that same thing. So that's what I've got in this video. Apologize, it's 46 minutes long, but it is chock full of information. The longer you watch the video, the more sponsors like to see that information, will help out the channel just as much. So do not forget what the keyword was. Do not forget to get your comment in there and like the video. So make sure to come back tomorrow and the next day and the next day. Make sure to follow us on our Discord, because if you're in our Discord, if I have news like I can't make these videos because I'm in the hospital, people in there, they were the first to know. So if you want to know, go get into our Discord. It's completely free. Check it out. FantasyTeamAdvisors.com is the website. Good luck on this slate. And as always, let's bring home some bacon. Peace.